Good evening, race fans, and welcome back to the FEG PC NASCAR Oval Series, brought to you by FEGPC.net. We've got a doubleheader for you here tonight, sending off the old Atlanta Motor Speedway in style to start the night. And as always, I'm your host, James East, with Team Good Squad Broadcasting, bringing to action 1080p, 60 frames a second. As drivers are getting lined up, it's going to be Steven Hendren starting on the front row, Dalton McKinney starting second, John Ballou starting third, Eric Park starting fourth, Jeffrey Radke starts fifth, Chad Ross starting sixth, John Mullahan starts seventh, Ken McCall Jr. starting eighth, Jeremy Paris starting ninth, James Kaufman starting 10th, Stephen Page starting 11th, Jay Dargert starting 12th, you got Wally Babb starting 13th, Corey Stahl starting 14th, Chris Luttrell starts 15th, Derek Fulton starts 16th, Jordan Darnell starting 17th, Rylan Fascinato starting 18th, Rod Ronimus starting 19th, Sean Powers starting 20th, Eli Warren starts 21st, Mark McFadden starting 22nd, Chris Davis starts 23rd, and that will round out the field here in Atlanta. As always, let us know where you're from, who you're cheering for, as we get ready to send these drivers out for a relatively long night, where the second race will decide our segment championship here at the FEG PC NASCAR Oval Series. Looks like we're waiting on Chad Ross, Chris Luttrell, and Chris Davis to make their way out onto the grid. Like everybody except for Davis has made their way out, so we're going to get things started. 135 laps here at the old Atlanta Motor Speedway. Field slowly gets rolling. For our exciting lap, and then we're ready to go. Dalton McKinney with the Distance Racing looking for another great finish here. And if the points are correct, I believe Dalton McKinney, your current points leader in that 46 machine. The purple and yellow, number 22, Dalton McKinney is going to be joining him. We've not seen McKinney inside the top 8. And the top 8 will decide who the championship segment will be decided by. I guess that following round here in New Hampshire will whittle it down to 8 drivers in contention. Pace car is in. And green flag is out. Let's go racing. Now Atlanta, one of those tracks that's very tough on tires. Excuse me. Tony Case saying having a great race. Mark McFadden, he's watching from Canada. As Hendren holds on to the race lead, but things are getting dicey behind him. Eric Parks, John Ballou going side by side. Right behind them, it's going to be Radke and Ross going at it inside the top 6. Now it's going to be interesting to see how many guys are aggressive early on, how many guys are going to be happy settling into a groove, because it looks like your top 4 get a bit of a breakaway from Chad Ross, John Ballou, Jeffrey Radke, who lag about 3/10 back, but we're going to have a yellow flag early on. And it's going to be Ronimus involved in an incident in that number 23 machine. Let's take a look and see what happened to him here. Watch number 23. He's getting slightly edged by Dargert and up into the wall. Does he pogo back down? Oh, it looks like that's going to be... No, Corey Stahl narrowly gets through. Not sure how Ronimus able to miss the field here. Shockingly, every other driver missed the 23 machine. And Ronimus will be put back into an early retirement. as there are no fast repairs here on the Monday Night Truck Series, unless we're going to a super speedway. This Atlanta Motor Speedway most certainly is not. So a quick caution of the night. One driver sent back to the hauler early on. As interesting enough, John Ballou, Kenneth McCullough Jr., Jeremy Paris, Wally Babb, Jay Darger, Stahl, Fulton, Fascinato, Darnell, Warren, Powers, McFadden, all coming down pit road early here. Hendren and McKinney opt to stay out, as well as Parks, Ross, and Radke to round out the top 5. It looks like all but the top 9 drivers have come down pit road. The rest of the field opting to try something different here. It looks like everybody took fuel, nobody took tires. They're trying to get off strategy. It's doubly interesting. McCullough, Fascinato, Fulton, Stahl, McFadden come back down pit road. Either taking every opportunity here to top off, or just trying to work themselves to the back, thinking tonight may be full of crashes and they want to keep themselves out of it. Let's get them stacked back up, double file. And see if we can have a little bit better luck at a run here. Yes, pace car is in. And we are green once more at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Hendren with another great start, but look at Eric Parks charging up the inside line as McKinney shuffles in behind them. Radke, Ross side by side. That's Kaufman, the 41 machine, tucking in as well. As it looks like Hendren gonna fall back slightly, the number 22 machine, as McKinney takes a move up the inside line. Wouldn't it be interesting to see how these different lines develop for the drivers? As Parks, your race leader, kind of running a middle line. Oh, look at that. It looked like that Hendren got a little bit loose there. Kind of flat tracking that 22 machine around the 46 of McKinney, and I wonder if Hendren's going to get a big run here and try and do something against Eric Parks in the 73. Taking a look at the inside line right off the back bumper, and McKinney closes the gap as well. So it's a 3-car, 3-truck battle for the lead. Parks, Hendren, McKinney. As Radke and Ross continue the side-by-side for the 4th and 5th place spot. But look at this, it's getting busy up front. Parks, McKinney on the high line. Hendren still running the low line. Still Parks at the line. Hendren had one of the faster laps of the race that time by. And I believe holds the fastest lap so far in this early start, 31.21. Now limited tires that's available for the different teams. So it's going to be interesting again. Who's maybe here for tire saving? As Hendren and McKinney still going at it, but Eric Parks has put another bit of a gap on the second and third place drivers. A little bit further back in the field, John Mullahan linked up with Stephen Page. They're about a half second back off the fifth place driver of Jeffrey Radke. But he got to go back up front as McKinney takes over second. Look at this, Chad Ross with a big run on the outside line, trying to work his way around the 22. Radke linked up in the 51 machine, just keeping him in within sight here. So McKinney working his way, maintain that second place spot, closing the gap to Parks. Ross up 3 spots. He's in the third place position, that 38 special. And now Radke and Hendren going side by side. Radke working his way squarely up into fourth. Hendren's down 4 spots early on the 22 machine. Maybe trying to save some tires. Stands, it's Parks, McKinney, Ross, Radke, and Hendren, your top 5. And a lot of people shaking up here already. Now it looks to me like the driver's getting a little bit loose coming out of turn 2. As we just saw with McKinney, it's going to allow Chad Ross to work his way up the inside through 3 and 4 to take over the second place spot. Now up 4 positions. And it looks to me like that top 5 getting a little bit bunched up as Parks gets the slightest bit of breakaways. The battle for second stays heated. Ross, McKinney going side by side. Looks like McKinney backed out of it slightly in the 46. Really, you've got 7 drivers in a bit of a freight train running nose to tail, except for your race leader Parks. He's got about that half second of breathing room over Chad Ross in second. Another good battle out on track. Eli Ward and Jordan Darnell have been going back and forth for the 14th place spot, as Sean Powers' number 21 machine sits just ahead. But back up front, Radke McKinney still going side by side. This is giving both Parks and Ross about 4 tenths between each other, as well as the third to about 6th place pack we have going on here. On screen, you've got Radke, McKinney, Mullahan, Page, all within a tenth and a half of each other. And it looks like Jeremy Paris and Stevin's starting to close the gap as well. McKinney and Mullahan side by side. Mullahan working the inside line in the fluorescent green number 6. McKinney still in the purple and yellow 46. And that's Stephen Page, the number 1 machine, starting to close the gap as well. Every time these drivers start going side by side, putting the elbows out, that allows the guys behind them to very quickly close the distance. Now it's a 3-truck battle for, I believe that's going to be the 4th place spot. Mullahan, Page, McKinney. Looks like Jeremy Paris about to get in the fray here as well. Mullahan holds on to the 4th place spot. Page tucked in right behind him. Cycling back to the battle for 10th. That's Jay Dargert chasing Wally Babb, Steven Hendren, James Kaufman, Sean Powers, all in the fray. Up front, looks like Page has made a pass on Jeremy Paris. Sean Powers, James Kaufman, side by side, a little bit of wiggle in there. Corey Stahl has made a move off Jordan Darnell, working to play back to 18. Stahl having a bit of a rough night. He is down 4 spots, but he's also one of those drivers that mysteriously came down pit road twice. Again, we're not sure if that's a fuel decision or what would drive these guys to come in twice under caution. I'm not sure if they're trying to top off or trying to get a little bit further back in the pack, I would think. Still a frantic 4-truck battle. Don Ballou, Don Mullahan, Jeremy Paris, Don McKinney, and Wally Babb have been dicing it up here. Oh, look like that was Mullahan getting a little bit out of sorts, the number 6 machine. Now, coming into this race, it's going to be the top 8 who are decided that go into the championship round. Currently the top 8, Don McKinney, Jeffrey Radke, John Mullahan, Sean Powers, John Ballou, Wally Babb, Eli Warren, and Kenneth McCullough Jr., who's on the bubble. McCullough, one of those drivers that came in twice under caution as well, currently back in 16th. Knows by the time these 135 laps are all said and done, he's got to have a good points paying night. Right behind him is Derek Fulton and Corey Stahl. But this pack of 3 drivers, oh, who's that all out of sorts? That's the 41 of Kaufman. Looks like he had a big moment. Ron Cautionato in 14. Up front is still Parks and Ross having a battle for the lead, but all eyes on this wild 4-5 truck fray going on. Paris, Mullahan, McKinney, Babb, Darner running 6 through about 10. All fighting very, very hard here. Up front, it looks like Chad Ross has company with the likes of Jeffrey Radke. Ross able to defend against Radke, but now Stephen Page trying to work his way up as well. Parks holds a commanding 7/10 lead over Ross and Radke. Getting back to the what is now effectively a very tight 3-truck battle as Lee Hinton going 3 wide. That's Mullahan, Babb, Darner, and here comes Sean Powers and Eli Warren up towards the front. Mullahan and Babb side by side. The Georgia native from the 99 machine. Wally Babb's up 5 spots so far in his Ford F-150. Now it's going to be Dargert and Mullahan side by side just inside the top 10. And tonight, with how close the points are, as the championship will be decided later tonight at New Hampshire. Everybody knows how important it is to dig deep, try and score some bonus points where you can. Oh, and here we go. Who is that in the wall? Was that Babb? No, around goes Dargert to bring out the caution. I think Babb was one of the first drivers involved in that. And let's take a look here and see what transpired. First it was Babb involved, and then it looked like Dargert got sent around. Oh, look what happened here. Looks like Babb gets squeezed into the wall. I think Mullahan gets into Dargert. Trying to see who else that was. But that will be our second caution of the night. So we've had a viewer request as well. Check in on Mark McFadden running 21th out on track, 21st I should say. Sporting a new paint scheme here for Atlanta as the rest of the field comes down pit road. For our second caution of the night. I believe Dargert is going to be in pit road for a little while here, facing some pretty heavy front end damage. Going to be interesting to see how the rest of the pack shakes out as well. And starting to see some of our first tire stops, at least 2 tire stops for these drivers. As we're going to get them rocking and rolling, grinning back up. Luttrell had an off track. Not sure if he had problems coming out of pit road there. Now John Mullahan, Eli Warren, Jay Dargert, Wally Babb also took extended stays in pit road. About a minute for each driver, so signifying they all may have some sort of repairs to be done here. Looks like we're getting ready to go back for the action. Pace car is in. And it's going to be Ross and Ballou on the front row. Parks Pager second row. And what happened here already? Caution's going to be out. Surely it's going to be out. Dargert and Parks immediately off track here. Not seeing a caution. Let's see what just happened. For that botched restart, Parks was hitched off track. Oh, Dargert had a mechanical. So Dargert had problems. And what happened to Parks? Parks also had issues on the restart. Does he miss a gear? Just sends it sliding off on the infield, so not quite sure what just happened there. But we're gonna keep rolling clean and green, no caution. As Radke and Ross go side by side for the race lead, Radke takes it over. Cycling it back to the 4th place spot. Paris McKinney going at it. Back, Paige McCullough in the fray. I think McCullough, one of the few drivers inside the top 10 who opted to take 4 fresh tires that last time by. So expect to see that 03 machine, let me correct myself, to take 4 fresh tires that last time by. So if we go green, judging by the restart, that is a huge ask. But if we do expect to see that 03 machine start to blitz through traffic. Very busy racetrack. We're about 12th place back. We've got still 20 drivers on the lead lap as we focus on James Kaufman. Kaufman chased by Warren, Stahl, and Wally Babb's going to lag behind. So 2 wide and 2 deep for the battle for 11. Everybody trying to fight their way up towards the top 10. John in 9th is about 3 seconds ahead of the drivers. Jeffrey Radke, your race leader, absolutely checking out 1.4 seconds ahead of Stephen Hendren, who's worked his way back into 2nd. Ross maintains 3rd, McCullough and McKinney rounding out the top 5. And it looks like Ross about to have company for that podium position. Here comes McCullough on 4 fresh tires underneath them. McCullough trying to work that inside line. And looks like he's going to put those 4 fresh tires to use as he continues charging up towards the front. McCullough up 5 spots from where he started. He's one of those drivers that took a gutsy call early on. And McCullough, we talked about him early on the broadcast, needs every point he can get. He came into tonight 8th in points positions. Hasn't had a win yet so far this season. They'll have a 3-truck battle going on for 12th. Mullahan, Stahl, Fulton, separated by less than a 10.5 here. 3 trucks trying to occupy that same spot. As it looks like Mullahan and Kaufman will come out on top in that encounter. Derek Fulton currently sits in 15th in the 07 field. Looks like Rylan Fascinato, the friendly Canadian, the 69, continues his hard charge forward tonight. He's up 9 positions as he tries to make a move on Stephen Page, but we've got issues out on track as it shows Stephen Hendren, involved in an incident trying to see where that car went. Where did Hendren go? Hendren may have Grabbed a disconnect, maybe? I don't see him anywhere out on track. Hinder pulled over and said, "See you guys, have a good night," as he takes a tow back to pit road. But thankfully the caution didn't come out for that one. As look who's once together once more. Dalton McKinney, Jeremy Paris side by side. Chris Luttrell watching that party in the 6th place spot. Luttrell up 9 spots, but Rylan Fascinato looks to be our hard charger of the night, up 10 positions. As we've got a heated 3-truck battle going on for 4th, 5th, and 6th. It's Paris, McKinney, Luttrell. Eli Warren, number 19 machine, comes down pit road for a green flag stop. Eric Parks, Wally Babb, 2 drivers that may have a bit of damage. We saw Parks go off track on this restart. Are still right there with each other in 14th and 15th. We go on board with Stephen Page, the number 1 machine. Just ahead of him is Luttrell and McKinney throwing elbows. You saw how narrow McKinney trying to cut the track there. Almost had 2 tires hit through the grass, crossing what would be the tri-oval. And Page getting closer and closer to maybe making a move here right behind them is Fascinato, who's been on a fantastic charge so far this fuel run. Still the battle for the top 5 continues. Page inside line and McKinney glides up in front of the 46, grabbing that position. Page have the run. Luttrell was in his pit stall for just about 27 seconds on that lap 29 stop, so not sure if the 500 machine had a little bit of damage repair, or I don't know why he'd be in his pit stall for 27 seconds. That's too short to be serving the third lead. Battle out on track for Stahl. James Kaufman running 10 and 11. Stahl up 4 spots. Kaufman's down 1. Kaufman may have had some damage repaired on his lap 29 pit stop. That's not stopping him from still giving her right back to the 66 machine of Stahl. They're separated by a little bit over a 10th of a second. This is the closest battle we have out on track, as your race leader, Jeffrey Radke, has stretched the distance 3 seconds over Kenneth McCullough Jr. McCullough has a 2nd and 3/4 over 3rd place Chad Ross. Stephen Page, Chris Luttrell still side by side for that 5th place spot. Fantastic racing here. Now Page came into tonight 11th in points. Luttrell in 14th. I'm a little surprised to see how hard these guys are duking it out. I would think if they can maybe work together, try and crawl up towards the front, they may be able to sneak into the top 8 by the time this championship is over. Checking in on Jeffrey Radke, your race leader. He is whittling through traffic. We've got 16 drivers still on the lead lap, with about 18 of the 23 that entered still out there fighting. So just about 5 different drivers were either did not start or sent back to their virtual hauler early on here today at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Chad Ross, Jeremy Paris. Ooh, looked like Paris had a big slide out of 2. Back in, getting light, narrowly avoiding holding on to it as that back end tried to dance around. Now I almost thought these two, oh, we go 3 wide with traffic. Getting very, very dicey. I almost thought Paris and Ross were going to work together, but no, Paris makes the move up into 3rd. Ross falls back to 4th. Both drivers we think are on the same tire strategy. Your top 2 drivers, Radke and McCullough. We think they took 4 tires their last stop. Paris and Ross most likely took 2. So Radke and McCullough gonna put the hammer down over the rest of the field here and try and build up as much of a safety gap as they possibly can. From what I can tell, I think Radke and McCullough were the only 2 drivers that took 4 tires and did not have damage on that lap 29 pit stop, and that's really allowing them to stretch their legs massively over the rest of the field. Radke about 8 seconds, almost 9 seconds ahead of Jeremy Paris, and who sits in 3rd and gaining just about a 10th and a half per lap here. As the 3-truck battle for 6th continues, Luttrell, McKinney, Fascinato running 6th, 7th, and 8th. We put the live timing screen on the left side so you can see where your favorite driver is. Still about 16 drivers on the lead lap. As Fascinato looking for a way through. Now way back, 7 seconds back, is John Ballou, who sits 9th, Corey Stahl in 10th, just inside the top 10. Stahl, one of those drivers who really needs a break if he wants to somehow work his way up inside the top 8 for this season finale later, the segment finale, I should say, later tonight to decide who's going to be the championship. This final race of the regular season here at Atlanta, the top 8 drivers after this race's points will decide who's in the championship running. As Fascinato keeps charging forward. Fascinato 13th in points. Looking for every bit he can get here. Now up 11 positions, our hard charger of the evening. He can see Chris Luttrell just about a half second in front of him. As we check back in on your race leader, Jeffrey Radke, holding about a 4.7 second advantage over McCullough. McCullough 1.3 over Jeremy Paris. Chad Ross, Stephen Page kick off another green flag stop here for lap 59. Eric Parks is going to follow suit, the 73 machine. Got Abby join us here, cheering on the 66 of Corey Stahl. As it looks like Radke, your race leader, getting ready to cut through traffic. As we are in the midst of a green flag pit stop. Looks like most drivers so far coming in around 30 laps after a fuel run. Be interested to see how many drivers stay out, as Radke and McCullough, running first and second, are on 4 fresh tires. Harris in third, we believe, is on a 2-tire strategy. Chris Luttrell, the number 500 machine, comes down pit road. Still about 12 drivers on the lead lap. But it looks like Radke, your race leader, has a few guys in front of him. Radke comes down pit road, your race leader. Will McCullough follow suit? No, he opts to stay out for a little while longer in the 03 machine. As more and more drivers start to cycle into this green flag stop, that's going to put McCullough, Paris, and Fasciano temporarily as your top 3. But how long are they going to want to stretch it out here on fuel? McCullough signaling he's most likely coming down pit road. Harris opts to stay out to get a lap led, number 24 machine. McCullough, Fasciano, McKinney all came down pit road together. Very interested to see how this is going to shape out as Paris, Ballou, Stahl, Fulton continue their run here. Harris will have a little bit of lap traffic ahead of them. As everybody rolls out of pit road, Paris comes down pit road. Is Ballou going to follow suit, the number 9 machine? He's got Corey Stahl right behind him in the 66. Ballou comes down pit road. No, Stahl misses the pit entry. Stahl will have to serve a penalty here in the 66 machine. Made too late of a call to come down pit road. So that's going to put Radke and Ross as your race leaders. Both drivers took 4 fresh tires coming out of pit road. And looking like we're about to go 3 wide with, I think that's Mullihan. A bit of contact between Radke and Ross. A large amount of net code. They actually didn't make contact, but the sim thought they were about to. Thankfully, they were able to hold on to it. But man, oh man, disaster almost struck for these drivers. As Radke holds on to the race lead, Ross still in hot pursuit. Looks like there's going to be 12 drivers on the lead lap by the time it's been all said and done. Stahl leaves his pit after 55 seconds. He did, in fact, get a pit road violation for that wild entry he had. Thankfully, kept it out of the wall, kept it away from everybody else. As it looks like Page is joining the top 3 as well. Radke, Ross, Page separated by about a second here total inside the top 3. Other than that, the field's starting to get fairly spread out. Your hard charger, Ron Fasciano, continuing with his forward advance as he's right behind Dalton McKinney's 46 machine. Another possible battle out on track. Chris Luttrell, Eric Parks running 8th and 9th. Again, we think both of these drivers took 4 fresh rubbers underneath them on that pit stop for lap 60. On average, seeing about 30 laps out of green flag running from these drivers. We're expecting the next fuel window to open up around that lap 90 mark. And I think Luttrell and Kaufman, who are linked up nose to tail, closing the gap to Eric Parks in the 73 machine. Rapidly closing the gap there. Not sure Luttrell found that speed, or maybe Parks had a bit of a bobble. That 500 Chevrolet rapidly closed the distance. And going back up front, looks like Ross has company in the second place spot. With Stephen Page right behind, you got another battle going on with Dalton McKinney, Jeremy Paris inside the top 5. McKinney has made the move back into 5th. And here we are side by side for second. It's Page and Ross. Also looks like the 66 of Corey Stahl, I think, trying to get a lap back here as he charges his way up towards the front. The Stahl looks to try and make his way around Page and Ross, but he is a lap down. That 66 machine's going to have to hammer down as your race leader, Jeffrey Radke, is still 3.6 seconds ahead of this pack of drivers. And it looks like Dalton McKinney going to work his way around McCullough Jr. We've got a little bit of traffic ahead of them. That's going to be Dargert in the 57 machine. Dargert, unfortunately, a lap down early on after his run-in with the wall. A little bit further back in the field, Parks, Balloon, Kaufman running 8th, 9th, and 10th. As it looks like Balloon throws up the inside line of Parks, makes it stick. Getting around both Kaufman and Parks in the last couple of laps. Chris Luttrell comes in for an early green flag stop on lap 74 as we watch Fascinato, the friendly Canadian, continue to push up towards the front. He is now up 13 positions. Now, I'm not quite sure what the points breakdown need to be for Fascinato to work his way inside the top 8. He was 13th in points coming into tonight. I'm not sure if Fascinato's in a must-win situation, but it's a must-do well if he wants to get that number 69 machine inside the top 8. Now, I'm taking a look here to see if maybe some of those top drivers are having a bad night. John Mullihan in that list. Second or third in points, currently 13th on track, a lap down. Wally Babb having a rough night as well. Came into tonight 6th in points, he's currently 16th out on track. John Powers, number 21 machine, 4th in points, has been in his pit stall for 26 minutes, so I think everything is far from decided as far as the top 8 is going to finally go. Checking in on Derek Fulton, the 07 machine. He's trying to track down parts in the 73. Looks like Jeremy Paris getting a late run as well, the number 24 machine. It doesn't look like Paris, McCullough, Cook, for fresh tires. It stopped kind of reverse to what the rest of the field did. And now McCullough is kind of seeing the exact same thing that he did to others done to him, slowly falling back. Radke still our race leader in the 51 machine, 3.5 seconds up over Stephen Page. Page in second has about a 3/4 of a second advantage over Chad Ross in third. And we've whittled it down to just 11 drivers on the lead lap here. Radke was second in points coming through tonight. If he can get a win, he will most certainly lock his way inside the top 8. Get over 50 laps left to go. And we're expecting the field winner to open up around lap 85 to 95 for these drivers. I think I just heard somebody blow up on pit road. I heard a hint of an engine letting the magic smoke out. The field very, very stretched out here. One of the closer, and that's a tough call to make that one. Page and Ross separated by about 9/10 of a second. Fourth and fifth, McKinney and Fascinato separated by about the same distance. So late into the run, drivers starting to really fall off here. The field gets very spread out. But I think in the next couple laps, once this pit cycle opens up, things are going to get a little bit more dicey. You've already seen some problems on pit road for several drivers. Both the old Atlanta Motor Speedway as well as the new one. Not the easiest track to come down pit road under race pace. Now it looks like Radke losing a lot of pace here to Page. Last time by, Page was a bit over a tenth and a half faster than Radke. Now Tony making a good comment, not a very competitive racing at the moment. I think what's happening is drivers are trying to hit their fuel mark at this point in the run. We saw a few drivers stretch it out 32, 33 laps. If Radke can I don't see how they can stretch it out long enough. It's going to put them in a weird spot. Unless they can do a whole lot of fuel saving on this run, they would need to get about 10 extra laps from what we saw early on. They would need to be able to get to around the lap 100, ideally lap 102 or so on this fuel run to have one final shot, or to be able to make it till the end with just one more stop. So not sure how this is going to shape out. especially with 11 drivers in the lead lap. The field very spread apart. But definitely Radke, Page, Ross, the top three have thrown out the anchor as far as pace goes. They're all over 2 seconds off their fastest lap of the race. Let's go on board with Jeffrey Radke, your race leader, and see if he's doing any fuel saving as we listen in. And yeah, you can hear it there. Jeffrey Radke doing all sorts of fuel saving in the number 81 machine. His last time by a 34-second flat. So he is in prime time fuel saving mode to hit his marks for the rest of the race. This is a very crucial fuel stint for the drivers. If they can save now, they may just have to come down pit road one final time, barring any cautions. But man, Radke's coming so slow through 3 and 4, it's almost like he's getting ready to come down pit road. Eric Parks comes down pit road in the 73 machine. The fuel window officially open for these drivers. Still 11 drivers on the lead lap. Stephen Page, running third, comes down pit road. Now, whatever fuel plan Radke and Ross have here, they are pretty well committed to it. Looks like Ross comes down pit road with 38 machine. Radke's been out on track for 30 laps since his lap 61 pit stop. I don't see how these guys are going to be able to time this right to make it till the end with just their final stop. Surely they're going to have to come down pit road with about 10 to 15 laps left to go, barring any sort of cautions. Radke very consistently hitting right around that 33.9 second lap time. He got up to as high as a 34 second. To give you an idea of how much these guys have backed it off, their fastest were all very low 31 second times here tonight. I'm interested to see how maybe two of the different strategies are going to pan out. You got guys such as Radke and McKinney who might be doing a bit of fuel saving, but no, now Radke's going to come in. 31 laps on a tank of gas. That's going to put him way short to make it till the end. And Dalton McKinney's going to get credit for a lap led here in the 46. So what strategies are going to win out? The guys fuel saving? The guys who realize, hey, I'm not going to make it on fuel. Let's go ahead and come in now and keep the lap time as low as we possibly can. Now McKinney's last pit stop was on lap 62. As we keep the live timing tower pulled up on the left side of the screen to see who your favorite driver's going to be at as this shakes itself out. McKinney's going to come down pit road. Basinato follows suit, as well as Paris and Ballou. What about Fulton? Is he going to come down? No, he stays out in the 07. McCullough is going to follow suit in the 03. Keep an eye out on McCullough, the wily veteran. I've seen him do crazy things on fuel mileage races to bring home a win. McCullough and Fulton come down pit road late into the race on lap 95. That should put Page as your race leader, the number 1 machine. He came in lap 89, a bit earlier than the rest of the field. Maybe realizing he's not going to make it to the end on fuel, coming out and just hammering down on laps. Now, we haven't seen anybody get close to a 45-lap fuel run, so I think Page doing the math here is right behind him. I say right behind, about 5 seconds back is Ross and Radke. Linked up nose to tail. Dargert has problems. The truck looks worse for wear. Looks like Derek Fulton may have also been tied up in that. So it looks like Darger's going to be able to limit down to pit road, so we won't see the caution here on lap 97. Well, let's see what happened to both Dargert and Fulton. 2 odds on fan favorites. Oh, looks like Dargert got a little bit loose, come out of 4. It's a Hardy point, and oh my goodness, poor Fulton never saw it coming. Fulton just got absolutely drilled there. Let's take one more look at that. To watch Dargert in the black and white 57, it gets loose, gets a help from around, gets pushed into the apron, and poor Derek Fulton, man, just never even knew that that was a possibility at that point. Still a heated battle for second. Radke and Ross side by side. Radke works his way back to the second place spot, up 3 positions. Ross also up 3 spots. Your race leader, Stephen Page, having a great night. He's up 10 positions from where he originally qualified and not having any issue putting a very quick 3.5 second gap on the rest of the field. A little bit further back, Dalton McKinney, John Ballou running 4th and 5th. I wonder if Ballou has a bit of damage from when Dargert crossed the bow and got into that number 9 machine after getting loose out of turn, excuse me, it was turn 4. Trying to get a tighter shot of that number 9 machine. Doesn't look like too much front end damage, so should be able to keep rocking and rolling. With about 33 laps remaining, it's going to be interesting to see how this one pans out. Only 9 drivers on the lead lap. And your hard charger, Rylan Fortunato, still trying to get up towards the front. He's about a half second back from Ballou, who rounds out the top 5. further up, Dalton McKinney, John Ballou going at it for the 4th place spot, still side by side. Ballou needs to lock himself inside the top 8 here. Trying to find McKinney on the standings. Oh, he was overlooking a McKinney here, current points leader, wanting to lock himself in the 46. Ballou works his way back up into 4th. McKinney right there with him, trying to get around, but can't due to a little bit of traffic. That's number 5 of McFadden, who's just fighting to get every lap back he can. McFadden about 2 laps down from the race leaders at this point. McFadden working his way back through the lead lap cars, giving a little bit of breathing room in the favor of John Ballou. Will McKinney be able to close that gap and finish? As it looks like Ballou going to have a bit of a breakaway. Your race leader, Stephen Page, still about a 1.5 seconds over Jeffrey Radke. Chris Luttrell in the 500 machine comes in for his final stop of the night. How is this final run going to be affected? Will they be able to stretch it out on fuel? I don't think you're going to see many guys try and stretch it out, as it looks like McCullough working his way back up behind Jeremy Paris. Harris, the number 24 machine, McCullough, and his trademark 03. 25 laps left to go in Atlanta. Jay Darger comes down pit road for his final plant stop of the evening. Eric Parks comes down pit road to number 73 machine. I'm very interested to see how this is going to pan out. With 24 laps left to go, I don't think anybody is going to be able to make it till the end without one final stop. 8 drivers on the lead lap as we all watch with bated breath to see how this fuel run's gonna pan out, but we may have something exciting happen. No, Mullihan involved in an incident but takes a tow back to pit road to avoid the caution coming out. Well, let's see what happened to him here. Either had a mechanical or ran out of gas as Mullihan pulls over and takes a tow back to pit road, so not that fantastic crash that we were expecting. Looks like Page comes down pit road. Radke stays out. How long will Radke, Ross, Baloo stay out? Whittling it down quickly to 17 drivers on the lead lap. Now we've got David Solomon asking, hey, who's still out there at this point? It's been a rough night for a lot of drivers. Very quickly, I'm looking at about 8 drivers who were sent back to the old virtual hauler very early throughout tonight's race. And again, tonight's a doubleheader. We've got this race who will work out who's in the top 8 for the championship. And the segment championship will be decided Chad Ross comes down pit road for his final stop. 17 laps left to go. I don't think anybody inside the top 5 is going to be able to stretch it all the way out here. As Radke, the 51 machine, comes down pit road. I'm wondering if, at this point, drivers realizing, hey, or maybe hoping that, hey, we're not going to be able to make it on fuel. Sullivan asking who from the distance still out on track. Corey Stahl seems to, oh no, look at this, John Ballou botches the pit entry in the number 9 machine. Gonna be a penalty there. He may have just thrown away the race, if not the segment chances of a championship. Now Dalton McKinney's still out on track for the distance. Corey Stahl has put it back in the virtual hauler. Jeffrey Radke's still out on track. Jordan Darnell back in the hauler. Rylan Fascinato out on track. And Wally Babb still out on track for the distance. So Paris will be the race leader. He has yet to come down pit road in the 24 machine. Page is in second after a lap 115 pit stop, a bit of an undercut. Looks like Page closing the gap without needing Paris to come down pit road. He's got 4 fresh tires underneath him and just 12 laps left, so no more fuel or tire savings to be left for tonight. Page takes over the race lead from Jeremy Paris. Paris, we still think it's going to be about 10 laps short on fuel. What is the plan out of Paris? Is he going to try and fuel save all the way to the end? The field extremely stretched out with 10 laps left to go. Stephen Page has a 3-second gap on Paris. Paris, I still think is going to have to come down pit road one final time. It's very hard to imagine he can stretch it out that long. I mean, from what we've seen, he's going to be 5 laps short minimum on fuel. And Page has nothing left to hold back here in that number 1 machine. He's currently up 10 positions so far tonight. Yes, Paris comes down pit road, unfortunately with 8 laps left to go. He'll splash off the tank and try and get back out there. This could very well be the race that Stephen Page was looking for, to get back inside the top 8. Coming into this round, he was 11th in points. It's the top 8 that will decide the segment championship later on tonight at New Hampshire. And Page with a comeback story. 7 laps left to go. A 6.5 second lead over Jeffrey Radke. Five laps left to go. Page still holding a 6.3 second advantage over Radke. Radke, 4.5 seconds up over Chad Ross in third. Barring any late race caution shenanigans, I think we're going to lock it in here. With just 6 drivers left on the lead lap. What an interesting race it has been. And don't forget, right after this, we're going to have podium interviews a brief intermission before we will roll straight into our segment championship round at New Hampshire, where we will decide the champion. Radke gaining about 2 to 3 tenths per lap, but not enough time left for that 51 machine to try and make something happen. As Page crosses the line, we're going to click it down. 3 laps left to go. As we say that, Jeremy Paris with an off track is still looking at the airtime out of the 24 machine. Almost bended there, narrowly avoiding bringing out the caution himself. Let's see what happened to Paris. We've seen drivers get loose. Oh, that was through 1. Look at the airtime here. Great jump from the number 24 machine. Laps left to go. Page gonna take the white flag this time by. Now, if we can take the white flag, it doesn't matter what else happens on track. We're gonna finish this under green flag conditions. But Page has got to be happy not to see a late race caution. We got very close there with Paris and his motocross shenanigans. White flag is out for Stephen Page. Gonna make his way around the high bankings of the old Atlanta Motor Speedway for the final send-off here for the FEG PC Series. And what a commanding race out of Stephen Page. Checkered flag is out. Page brings home the win, up 10 positions at Atlanta, and could very well have locked himself in the top 8. Radke finishing second, and Chad Ross gonna round out the top 3. Stephen Page gonna enjoy the victory lap. Soaking in the limelight. We're gonna try and get these top 3 drivers up into the waiting room. Looks like we're starting to get them here. And then Stephen Page gonna burn it down here at Atlanta. Put on a smoke show for the fans of that number 1 machine. And a very well-deserved victory. We're going to start the party off with Chad Ross in the 38 machine, bringing home a hard-fought third. And yeah, it looked like that was kind of an interesting race. Started off rough for everybody, and then had some clean laps, and then it turned into a surprise fuel mileage race midway through.
Yeah, I was surprised we got that far. Either the 3 of us got that far out front, man. But I will take it. I kept her out of the wall all night, so was happy to bring it home.
That's a pretty good accomplishment. Should still be inside the top 8 if I did a little bit of napkin math correctly here. It's going to be close on how that breaks down. But, Dad, were you happy we were running the old configuration of Atlanta, or were you looking forward to the new track they just put out?
No, I was definitely glad to run this one because I know that new one. I actually haven't run it yet, but I just knew it was going to be a mess. And didn't know if the short pitting strategy to get away from everybody would have worked on that one without going lap down. So I was really kind of worried about that one. So I'm glad we did this one, especially since I brought it home third and got to talk to you.
Well, it's a good night all the way through. Looking forward to seeing how these points are going to play off, and hopefully you're inside the top 8 for New Hampshire. And Dad, who do you want to give a quick shout out to before we roll to intermission between the 2 races tonight?
Hey, man, first thing I want to do is congratulate my buddy Stephen Page. Got it done tonight. First time win for Team 3. Shout out to all the Team 3 guys, Stephen, Eric, Jay, John, Kaufman. Um, and we hopefully we got the team win for tonight too. So worked out really good, man. Really happy for Stephen.
Awesome. Good job, Chad. Well said, and we wish you the best of luck in this segment finale coming up in just a few short moments.
Thanks, buddy. Probably won't run as good in the next one. I'm gonna just struggle with that track, but we'll give it our best. And I want to shout out to say hi to my dad who's watching at home.
Awesome. Well said, Chad. Good luck out there, my friend.
Thanks, buddy.
That was Chad Ross finishing a hard-fought third. Up next, Jeffrey Radke in the 51 machine. Jeff, it seemed like it was kind of a yo-yo night for everybody up front, towards the back, but finally making it happen with a good second-place distance for the distance.
Yes, sir. Nice, strong finish.
Now, Chad, were you expecting tonight to go a little bit rougher, a little bit cleaner? What was your expectations?
I expected limited cautions, pretty clean, just like the last race earlier in the season.
And Jeff, now that being said, were you surprised that the top 3 drivers had such a massive breakaway towards the end of this?
Not really. I was kind of running it out there towards the end on fuel. Was just going to take a splash. I found out I had some tires in the pits, and I was a little bit late. Page got in a few laps earlier than I could, and I couldn't run him down.
So, hey, great race for you guys in that 51 machine. What's the thoughts going into New Hampshire to decide this segment championship? Are you feeling pretty confident, or what are you thinking?
I feel pretty confident. I usually have pretty good runs at short tracks. Probably going to be the same thing. Low cautions. We'll have long green flag runs, so it'll come down to strategy.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Jeff, who do you want to give a quick send-off to before we let you go and get ready for that segment finale coming up?
As always, my wife for letting me do it. Jeff for putting it on, you for broadcasting, and Rylan for having the distance team.
Oh, my pleasure. Jeff, great job, and good luck out there.
Thanks, James.
That was Jeffrey Radke finishing in second, but up next, the man of the hour, Stephen Page, gaining 10 spots over the course of the night in that number 1 machine and bringing it home on top spot. Steve, what a great race for you guys out there.
Yeah, thanks, James. It was, man. It was all about tires, and I'm not usually good at saving tires with the right front, but did pretty good tonight.
Now, with those early cautions that came out, Stephen, were you expecting tonight to be a little bit shorter runs and more reliant on short run speed, or were you pretty confident you're going to see some long run potential come around?
At first I would have thought we'd have had a few more cautions, but as we got to going there, I'll be honest with you, the one Team 3 Chevy, it got better as the run went on, that's for sure.
Well, Steven, we're waiting to see how the official points break down. I think you most likely worked yourself inside the top 8, so a shot at the championship here tonight. You have big plans for New Hampshire? I mean, what's the strategy for you guys going into this when it's been such a wild evening all night?
Yeah, I don't know. Haven't had too good a look at New Hampshire in the past, but we'll see what we got. Hopefully, we can get out front and get some points there too.
Well, elbows out. I'm looking forward to it. I know the fans are as well. And speaking of fans, Steven, who do you want to give the shout out to? You got the privilege, the pleasure of this race, the final send-offs of the evening.
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to folks at Page Lawn Care for paying the bills, Team 3 Racing, all these guys. We got a pretty good group of guys here, and some of these guys are smart with strategy and stuff, and I think we're going to take it.
Well, awesome, Stephen. Congratulations. A very hard-fought, well-deserved win. We're wishing you the best of luck in New Hampshire and hope to have you back up here in maybe an hour or so.
All right. Appreciate it, James. Hope so.
Thank you, Stephen. Good job.
Thanks, sir.
That was Stephen Page rounding out, finishing on top here tonight. Where Jeffrey Radke, Chad Ross finishing second and third, Dalton McKinney, Ron Fascinato rounding out the top 5. And we did just get an update as well. Unfortunately, Page just narrowly missed the cutoff. The points going into New Hampshire, your 8 drivers in the championship contention: Jeffrey Radke, Dalton McKinney, John Mullihan, Kenneth McCall Jr., Chad Ross, John Ballou, Sean Powers, and Wally Babb will be the 8 drivers duking it out for the segment championship. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have a brief intermission, and then we're going to roll right into the segment championship here at New Hampshire. Here we go. Here we go.
On the apron, crashing. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Still there. He's still there. Still there.
What do I do? Where do I go? Where do I go?
Go. Hold your line. Hold your line. Hold your line.
Yes!
There you go.
Yes!
There you go.
A great success.
Tonight's Street Stock League brought to you by Murder Perkins Incorporated. Is he going to hold a line and swerve left in front of you? Is he going to bin it in front of the leaders? Who knows? But what you do need to
Say, hold up, wait a minute.
God damn it, Perkins! Is invest in Murder Perkins Incorporated. What's up, guys? We are getting ready for the Razzle Dazzle Surprise Next Gen Cup Car race here at Daytona Legacy. It's the first time we've actually done a broadcast here. And guys, if you got a fan favorite that's racing right now, let us know who you're rooting for. I'm rooting for Craig, who has almost no laps of practice.
One could even say 0.
I think so far the fan favorite's gonna be Holland tonight. What do you think, Mav?
I'm thinking either Holland or Justin Terpstra.
Yeah, Robert Holland, the number 10 machine, is definitely one of the most entertaining guys we have.
Green.
And we are green. So far cleaner than I thought it would be. Looks like Jonathan's getting a pretty good pull.
I'm in danger.
Those things get squirrel on the inside line. And there it goes. Oh, the big one's happened already. Oh, God, the humanity. Throw the yellow. There's carnage everywhere. Howdy, race fans. Thank you for tuning in for our 1-year anniversary-ish video. My name's James East, the El Capitan for Team Goon Squad. Technically, I guess I'm the guy in charge, but really we know it's just a group of dysfunctional hooligans really running things behind the scenes. But answer some quick questions, kind of how we started, where we're going, and kind of what the plans are for the future. So originally, the Team Goon Squad Discord was started just about a year ago, I would say January 2021, I think is when things started really kicking off. It was kind of a sanctuary, a bunch of online friends who originally played Arma 3 in a big community. You're my bodyguard now,
Knocking them well for you.
No.
Okay, we're clear hot on him, right? Drop him.
Ah!
I'm actually happy you're AOD now. Now you can get blown up.
Yeah, I wasn't in the proper spot, Kenny. I couldn't ace interact.
Stay front up. We got an explosion.
Oh, sh!
Oh.
Went and wanted to do something a little bit different and still keep in touch, even though we were kind of burnt out on Arma. So that's how it started. Was about 8 or 9 good friends racing Forza online together. And as you can see now, it's just spiraled wildly out of control. We're just a little bit shy of 600 folks now. So it's crazy to see how things have happened, how rapidly it happened. Before we started the Team Goon Squad brand for broadcasting, I did other freelance work for an iRacing league, and that's kind of what started the whole broadcasting thing. This Discord I was in, I wanted to drive in their series, did it at everyone one day and said, hey, we need somebody to run production tonight. We'll pay you $10. We'll give you the software. I was like, okay, I'm in. I got nothing else going on. So that's how I started producing. I did a little bit of commentary work for those guys as well, and a lot of fun. Just I did the math later, and I realized I was making about $3 and change per hour every time I did at a $10 flat rate show, and decided, you know what, we got to do our own thing. I never thought though that it would kind of blow up to what it is now. For a while, for a long while, I was doing this as my full-time job for broadcasting. I mean, 6-7 days a week, multiple shows throughout the week, and now we've got a group of really solid guys, 4 or 5 guys that work with Team Goon Squad, run their own shows.
Good evening, race fans. My name is Finney Fitzsimmons.
My name is Mason Heimbaugh.
My name is Jacob Vescan.
Broadcasted by yours truly, Gareth McAllister.
I hope you all are ready for what's in store.
As the lights go green here today, and now it looks like Beaver is off to a good start on the inside line. Brandon Dewan.
Currently with Jonathan Jennings just behind him. We're stacked up 2 wide, looking 4 deep.
Got side by side for second and third between Harris and Lorenzo. Harris drives in a little bit deeper, but Lorenzo's going to have about a half a car length advantage. We'll see if he can get the run off of the corner here.
Ryan go to the low side on exit. Always an interesting strategy, slightly less speed, but definitely a better exit he got there, as Chris Davis is going to have to give up the inside line to Fascinato. Absolutely. His huge lunge. Jordan Darnell behind him. Not sure what he was thinking there. Going to give the place up to Kenneth McCullough Jr.
So absolutely wild how big it's gotten and how successful we have been, thanks to our friends and the leagues that have been helping us out along the way. So coming from a 2-wheel background, and I've got a very, very slight background in 4-wheel racing. I did my one and only 24 Hours of Lemons last year with Too Many Wheels Racing.
Race hard. It's a little foggy out. As you can see, we can't see the bridge on the straightaway, nor the hill up turn 1, which I can read the weather tech board now, so it's coming around. That's a plus. But the car worked great.
Now, James, you said the car works great. We've got no tachometer, no fuel gauge, and we don't know what else is not working yet. How does that make you feel?
You don't need that.
Excellent. You heard it here. You heard it here first.
One with the car and just listen to the engine.
Good.
Listen to all 80 horsepower sing.
Well, you heard it here first. James Turgeon, team captain, 2 wheels, too many. For the uninitiated, the confused, and the bewildered, the 24 Hours of Lemons is a simple concept. You take a $500-ish vehicle, get it built to race safety standards, roll cage, fuel cells, battery mounts, all the bells and whistles to keep your driver safe and alive, racing a $500 hoopty. You build it out to the coolest thing you can possibly think of. Doesn't matter what you have in mind, as long as it can impress and bewilder the judges, you will get through just fine. And then you go out and race over the course of a 2-day weekend. A lot of hoopties, boxes, and all-around questionable vehicles, as well as teams made their way out here to Road Atlanta and went out there to do battle. Our theme, Too Many Wheels Racing, a bunch of motorcycle racers washed up and kind of out of talent threw on our old racing leathers, our old safety gear for what could be the final time to try and impress the judges and avoid any penalty laps. Get a few guys out there with no talent or ability, and we're going to sit it for a 24-hour race. What more could you ask for? Looking forward, I think the biggest thing now that I've taken a corporate job within the power sports industry is be able to get back out on track more often and kind of where I'm at home on 2 wheels. So now that I've got this corporate gig, I don't have to broadcast 6 to 8 shows a week just to pay for stupid little things like food. So now all the money that I make personally from my own shows goes straight into my racing effort we're going to plan for next year. And then all the profits we have from the other guys broadcasting go right back into the Team Goon Squad as well. So we stay super busy. So hopefully with a little bit of luck, I'll be racing back on road racing asphalt motorcycles 2023 is the plan. And just kind of see where thing takes us. while it's not always covered on the Team Goon Squad broadcasting YouTube channel, something the fans don't get to see behind the scenes yet is my real life racing announcing experience, which has been fantastic. I'm the sole announcer for the Southeast Flat Track Series. Been a lot of fun, super grassroots, good group of guys and girls racing at dirt tracks across the Southeast. Just spectacular, really getting able to take it to a real life track. The online broadcasting stuff is fantastic in its own right, but it just feels different when the engines are going by and you're sitting by the flag station watching your friends just blitz around at a race pace. So it's good to be back out of the track in some sort of capacity. Even though I'm not racing it most of the time myself when I'm there announcing, I'm still a part of the show, a part of the action that I kind of cut my teeth on. Now that we've covered over a year here at Team Goon Squad, a year and a half of the actual Discord being started, over a year and a few months of the broadcasting side of things, we still have pretty big goals we're trying to hit. I would like to branch out more into the setup side of iRacing. I think one of the big things we have going for us is that we're a company, a dysfunctional family of race fans and racers for racers. So we kind of speak the lingo amongst each other, and it's hard to describe that to the non-racing crowd of what it's like to communicate with like-minded individuals. So as we continue branching out into iRacing setups, more into league management, we've got a paint shop as well. So when we take care of those guys, they always take care of us. So we have some of the best paint rates to our guys that I think I found in the virtual industry. And what little profits we do take on each of those sales goes right back into Team Goon Squad, the race program, sponsoring up-and-coming drivers, cool stuff like that. So very, very pumped to see where we're going to keep things rocking and rolling. We've booked 370 shows in 2022, and I think that's going to hit, I think, at least 400 by the end of this season. So really cool to see, and I couldn't do it without so many good folks around me. And speaking of good folks, huge thanks again to everybody that's in the Team Goon Squad Discord that's followed my real-life racing exploits over the years and just kind of supported me, really, and as well as the brand. Without those really strong guys behind me and girls, I would be nothing, and my job wouldn't be nearly as cool calling virtual races if there was nobody to listen to. So I owe it to all those guys, my friends, family, the leagues that helped us out. There's been a bunch over the season. All-American ARCA, FEG, PC.net, Original Rebels Racing was one of the first big customers that we booked here at Team Goon Squad, and now it's expanded to guys like the Old Bastards Racing League that they book seasons at a time. We've got guys over at VRL booking entire years at a time. So without those guys, and again, my very specific, my very niche broadcast crew, we've got Mason, Gareth, Finley, Best Cannon, all absolutely rock stars that I've had the pleasure of coaching and watching them grow into their own right and become just badass producers and announcers. So again, without those guys, without the fans of the Team Goon Squad Discord, especially my loving Maggie, who's been ever so patient as she listens to me sit at a desktop for hours at a time announcing virtual races, I couldn't do it without you guys. Thank you all so much for the support, for supporting us at Team Goon Squad, and whether it be a virtual or a real life racetrack, I hope to see you guys soon. Thank you so much for Welcome back, race fans, to the segment finale here at the FEG PC NASCAR Oval Series, brought to you by FEGPC.net. We are at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, 1 mile short track action to decide who the segment championship is going to be taken home by. Again, my name is James East with Team Goon Squad Broadcasting. Thank you all for sticking around for a long, long night. As right now, single car qualifying is underway, but let's talk about the points contenders. 8 drivers have a chance to bring home the segment championship here tonight. It's going to be Jeffrey Radke, Dalton McKinney, John Mullahan, Kent McCullough Jr., Chad Ross, John Ballou, Sean Powers, and Wally Babb all have a chance to bring home that championship. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this one shakes down by the time it's all said and done. As right now, Dargert out on track. Let's also check in on Jeremy Paris in the number 24 machine. Paris comes down pit road. Must have had a good quality. He was happy with a second place time, a 30.18 behind John Ballou. I think that's going to be his one shot out of here. I don't think he's going to go back out, but it'll be interesting to see if he does. As Ballou sits on top of qualifying. Looks like Ken McCullough Jr., Mark McFadden have yet to go out on pit road. McCullough is in that top 8 playoff, so he's got a chance of bringing home the big prizes here at the FEG PC NASCAR Oval. Stephen Page also sitting in pit road for a winner from Atlanta Motor Speedway just a little while ago. Corey Stahl joined us in the spectator area, the 66 machine. He's ready to rock after qualifying 12th. A much smaller field here. We've lost about half the drivers. 16 drivers have entered into the session. 14 have put down qualifying times. Now it looks like it's late afternoon, so it's going to be interesting. Let's run through the grid, and I've got a fun fact for all of our fans. Starting on pole, John Ballou in the number 9 machine. Jeremy Paris starting 2nd. Rylan Fascinato starting 3rd. Stephen Page starts 4th. Chad Ross starting 5th. Dalton McKinney starting 6th. Eric Parks starts 7th. James Kaufman starting 8th. Jeffrey Radke starts 9th. John Mullahan starting 10th. Jay Dargert starting 11th. Corey Stahl starting 12th. Wally Babb starts 13th. Chris Luttrell starting 14th. Mark McFadden starting 15th. And Kenneth McCullough Jr. rounds out the 16-driver field to cap off this segment. Now, I got a bit nervous. I had a friend point out that if this race started in late evening, this track doesn't have lights, so we were a bit panicking. We've seen cold races before where if it ends up being too many cautions, that the race has to end when it goes dark due to local ordinances. So thankfully, this is an early morning start time, so not going to run into that. But that could have been a wild wrench in the season finale, the segment finale, excuse me. As John Ballou looks antsy to get going, the iRacing safety car driver, a slow start there. 135 laps to decide who is going to be the segment champion. Now, a lot of the drivers were predicting long green flag runs. It's going to be interesting to see if that is indeed the case on this 1 mile raceway, as it will lend itself to a little bit more bumping and grinding, I think, than the 1.5 mile Atlanta Motor Speedway, the old Atlanta Motor Speedway we were just at. Looks like all 16 drivers are out on track. Pace car will be coming in this time by and Let's Go Racing with John Ballou out front, Jeremy Paris in hot pursuit. Now we had Joseph Penn asking if 16 drivers is the full field. That's everybody that made their way out tonight. We had a lot more for the race just prior, but I think some drivers, knowing that they're out of contention for the Top 8 championship, opted to call it a season, maybe save some finances on these trucks and get ready for the next segment following our summer break. Chad Ross, Dalton McKinney side by side for fifth. Up front, it's Ballou, Paris, Fascinato, Page, and it looks like McKinney still fighting tooth and nail against Ross to sort out the top 5. There's number 41 of James Kaufman in the fray. Ooh, what's that? Fascinato has problems, not sure if he got tipped by Page as the 69 machine gets pushed way up the track. The 46 of McKinney checks up to avoid getting the back of our friendly Canadian friend. And Fascinato will now find himself back to fifth. He's got to be careful not to put too much heat in the tires, as if we do go green, this could very well be a fuel management, but I don't think we're going to go green, as Chris Luttrell pointed the wrong way. He got a little bit of help there, I think. Let's see what happened to the number 500. Ooh, I'm not sure if he came down or if Darger just cleaned them out. We're going clean and green. We're going to take a look at that once more. That looked a little questionable. Going on board, well, that sun is pretty rough. Oh, man. I think Darger might have just cleaned them out there. That's going to put John Ballou as your race leader. Still, everybody else on track. 30-second lap time, so about the same times we were doing at Atlanta. So they're clicking off 30, low 31s is their fastest laps of the race right now. Drivers in the high 30-second mark. Blue holding about a half-second gap. Jeremy Paris has Page, Ross, and Fascinato right in tow. Fascinato has about a 6/10 gap over Dalton McKinney, the 46 machine, trying to work his way back up to those top 5 drivers, but things are getting exciting, as I think Page may have come in a little bit too hot on the brake. That's going to allow Chad Ross by on the inside line, the 38. Ross takes back over the 3rd place spot. Fascinato looks to make his way through on the inside line of Page. Like Page carries a little bit better momentum out of 4. Fascinato squeezed down low as to go back to the high line to get another run up at it. And here comes McKinney as well, yo-yoing back and forth inside the top 5. Ballou's got to be happy with all the action going on behind him. McKinney doing everything he can to get around Fascinato. it is a very heated battle up here inside the top 5. A little bit further back, looks like Mullahan has company as Aaron Parks sends it up the inside line. Just ahead of them, Fascinato and McKinney are going side by side. Almost a 3-truck battle as Page almost gets tied up in it. And right ahead, Chad Ross closing the gap to Jeremy Paris in second. So great racing all across the track here. As Fascinato trying to put his head down to keep working or try and get some forward momentum once more. He's been slowly falling back here in the 69 machine. I'm wondering if he got too much heat in those tires. Oh, and they're bumping and grinding. That was Parks and Fascinato with a bit of contact. Now Mullahan's going to try and work his way through. Fascinato, who's normally very, very quick, just does not seem to be having any sort of luck here at the short track of New Hampshire. They're kind of getting bounced around now up front. Jeremy Paris, Chad Ross still side by side. A big move by Ross. Dorr in the number 24 machine of Paris. Looks like Page going to take advantage of that situation as well to move that number 1 machine up into third. We are bumping and grinding, only 12 laps in here. Oh, look at Fascinato throwing it up the inside line, trying to get up next to Parks. As Paris and McKinney doing some side-by-side. Keep an eye out on Parks as well as Fascinato. They're showing a little bit of aggressiveness early on here tonight. As, oh, they almost make contact between Parks and McKinney. This is not a track that bodes well for 3-wide action, but the guys are going to try it anyway. Now this is where John Ballou, your race leader, the number 9 machine, has been the most potent throughout the season and the segment. If he can get out front, control his own pace, and just worry about tire management, it is very tough to beat that number 9 machine, even when these guys are having their best of days. And as everybody's elbows out, door to door throughout the field, that's going to give Ballou and Ross running first and second a chance just to focus on hitting their marks, taking it easy, and letting the run come to them. Now, Ross has been involved in a little bit of side-by-side action as well as Stephen Page, but not nearly as wild as we're seeing from about 4th through, let's call it about 7th place, where all the really aggressiveness has been. Now, 15 laps in, I am wondering when the tires are going to really fall off and it's going to prevent those guys from making those big moves. Now McKinney looks to make a move on Paris. No, and he's got to keep that forward momentum because Parks and Fascinato right behind here. A little bit further back, just inside the top 10, Radke makes a move on Kaufman's 41 machine. Corey Stahl trying to get that 66 machine up in the party, as well as Kevin Coe Jr. in the 03. The fray continues. Parks, Paris, McKinney. Just inside the top 5. McKinney trying to work his way up inside the top 5 in that 46. Apologies for the lack of comps. Had to grab some cough drops. Still battling a bit of illness up here in the broadcast booth. But man, oh man, some heavy lunges. Oh, as it looks like Paris gets to the back of Fascinato. Fascinato able to hold on to it narrowly in that 69 machine. A fantastic save, judging by the lack of move following from Paris. I don't think it was intentional for the old bump and run. Paris either missed his brake partner or Fascinato started blowing it up a little bit early and the two made contact. But man, Fascinato having quite the rough evening, and now John Mullahan's going to try and work up into the 3-truck battle for 6. Paris takes a look at the inside line of Fascinato, not quite able to make it happen. Kind of watching these guys from the outside looking in up in the broadcast booth. It looks like they're really struggling to put the power down on some of the corner exit. The back end wanted to dance around on them. So it looks like they started to spread out just a little bit here up front. Even Page right on the back bumper of Chad Ross. Both second and third place drivers trying to close that gap to John Ballou. Still sits out front with about a 9/10 advantage. Now, is Page going to try and make a move on Ross here, or is he going to tuck in behind that 38 machine and maybe just play it safe and try and fill that gap with John Ballou? I think that great racing going on all across the track. Here's Kip Junior, James Kaufman battling for 9th. Right behind them, that's Jeffrey Radke, Corey Stahl going at it for 11. Radke down 2 spots from where he qualified. Stahl sits exactly where he started. Maybe just trying to keep the tires underneath him, as it looks like with a smaller field, we may be good to go and keep it green here. Now, we had that one early incident between Darker and Luttrell very early on in the race. And other than that, it's been relatively stale, besides a couple of bumps and a couple of grinding against each other moments. As things are stacking up now for second, Ross, Page, Parks. Separated by, let's see, it's going to be about 3/10 of a second from second to fourth. This is going to give an even bigger advantage to John Ballou, who's now 1.2 up over Chad Ross in second and climbing now to a 2.5 seconds. John Ballou has his head down and he wants that segment championship. Interesting to see several 3-4 car packs across the track. You've got that battle going on between Ross, Page, and Parks. You've also got Mullahan, Kaufman, Radke, and Stahl here in a 4-truck pack. Kaufman makes the move on Mullahan, moves back up to 9th. And it looks like Radke looks in the inside line of Mullahan as well. Up front, Parks has made the pass on Page, moving that 73 machine up into third. He's up 4 spots. Our hard charger so far in the evening, Ken McCall Jr., he's up 8 positions in that 03 machine. Now at Charlotte, we were a little bit more, excuse me, Atlanta Motor Speedway, we were a little bit more more wide open. We're seeing about 30 lap fuel runs. I'd imagine they'll be able to stretch it out a little bit more today as Radke and Mullahan barely avoiding contact with Kaufman. And let's go. Looks like Parks continues his charge towards the front. He looks to the inside line of Ross. He's going to be deep on the brakes here in that 73 machine. Will he be able to slide out in front of Ross? It looks like he will. So Parks takes over the second place spot. Ross and Page slot in for third and fourth. Dalton McKinney still the top five, but John Ballou taking off here. 3 seconds up over the pack. As from second place back, it's been a pretty heated battle. Ross on the outside line. Look at McKinney making it 3 wide in the 46. Ooh, how's this one gonna pan out? As they make their way down the backstretch. McKinney on the inside, Ross on the outside, and it was Page down low. Page opts to back out of it. Way too early to be risking your truck, especially when it's the segment championship. Now that battle has given it a 1.5 advantage to Eric Parks. Sits in second. Parks is 2.5 seconds back from Ballou. As Ross is going to try and get a bit of a breakaway, McKinney and Page still showing signs of a fight. Still 15 drivers on the lead lap. As let's go back to John Mullahan. Still duking it out with Kaufman, the 41 machine. Mullahan throws it up the inside line next to Kaufman on the high line of 41. Right behind him, that's Wally Babb in the 99 Ford F-150. You can just see Mark McFadden lagging a little bit behind these guys. But as we've seen him get 2 or 3 trucks, oh, look at that. Mullahan makes the pass on Kaufman. Wally Babb's going to follow suit. I don't think McFadden's out of it quite yet. If Mullahan, Babb, and Kaufman keep throwing those heavy shots at each other, it's much easier to find yourself catching up to everybody. And speaking of going at it, here's Page and McKinney still going at it 37 laps in. I think we're getting ready to put some more drivers down a lap. Checking in on John Ballou, your race leader. I believe it's going to be Darger just ahead of him in the 57 machine. He's going to try and stay on the lead lap here. And you can see what a 1.4 second advantage looks like for Ballou now. He has lost some pace. Running about 3/10 slower than Parks that last time by, but Ballou hasn't had to push that much so far tonight. Got a quick, comfortable lead, and from second place back, everyone else was fighting pretty fiercely here. And the Page and McKinney show still going on. Look at Page, ooh, a little slight contact as Page throws it in deep on the inside line against McKinney. McKinney comes out on top, holding on to the 4th place spot. You guys are absolutely going at it here tonight. The same continues with Mullahan and Kaufman. No, excuse me, that's Wally Babb at the 99. Getting pressure from Mullahan. Mullahan's about 1.5 seconds up over Kaufman. Kaufman about 0.7 over McFadden, who sits at 14. And I'm astounded with the aggressiveness we've seen out of the drivers that there hasn't been a caution yet. This may be some of the short track racing at its finest. And now look at this, Jeremy Paris going to join the battle with Stephen Page and Dalton McKinney. Jeffrey Radke comes down pit road on lap 42. He'll be the first driver in pit road. Maybe he had some damage or maybe needs to make some adjustments on the truck he's not happy with. Here comes Paris up the inside line and McKinney. Pass happen. Radke rolls out of pit road. Interested to see how far behind he's going to be. Looks like one lap down, and now Parks comes down pit road as well, who was running second. Now Ballou's going to try and stretch it out to lap 45 or so to make it a two-stop race is what I think is the strategy here tonight, as Ross and Page comes down pit road as well, so I'm expecting Ballou to come in this lap or the next. McFadden's also down pit road. Ballou is going to come down pit road on lap 45. What's Jeremy Paris going to do? He's going to follow suit, number 24. McKinney opts to stay out for an extra lap, getting the lap led here in New Hampshire. Anthony McCullough Jr. also stays out. Looks like he's going to come down pit road. Will McCullough follow? McCullough follows suit. It looks like he is. He gets the 03 machine blowed up. That's going to put John Ballou back as your race leader as the pit cycles have just about worked themselves out here. Now Ballou came in a lap 45. Parks was able to close that gap after the green flag stops in just a second, as Parks came in a lap 43. But I'd imagine Ballou's going to be talking to his crew chief and his spotter. And keep an eye on the pace of Parks in second, Ross in third. You've also got Page and Radke running out the top five, and avoid pushing hard too early. Again, it's all going to be tire management. Yes, Ballou now 3 seconds up over Parks. Mullahan has worked his way around Babb in that pit stop. Mullahan holding on to the 10th place spot. Babb up 2 spots into 11th. About a half second back from that number 6. Looks like just about everybody took 4 tires, except for possibly McFadden, who I think only took two New tires on that pit stop. Parks running in second, has Ross closing the gap in that 38 machine. Ross been able to gain about 2/10 over the last 3 laps. As we've got somebody off track, I think it's Mullahan in the number 6 machine. Takes the toe to avoid bringing out the caution. And let's see what happened there. As Mullahan finds himself with an off-track excursion, let's see what happens. Number 16 running very strong. This gets loose all his lonesome out of turn 2, drills the inside wall, brings it to his top, and unfortunately goes back to the virtual hauler, so he's done and out for the evening. Ross not quite able to close the gap to Parks like he wants to. Still sitting in a strong 3rd place, up 2 spots in that 38 machine. But Parks seems to be stretching the gap ever so slightly. Parks was about 3/10 faster than Ross last time by. No, as the time's updated, Parks and Ross both clicked off identical 31.11 second lap times. I'm wondering if both drivers feel a little bit more comfortable with clean air, giving themselves a bit of a gap. They're still 2.8 seconds, 2.9. All about 3 seconds back from John Ballou's number 9 machine. But I've got a prediction. I think John Ballou is on a fuel strategy here. I think he's aiming to hit 45 laps per stint, which will leave him just one more stop left to go on lap 90, is my personal prediction. Has lap traffic to contend with. That could be a deciding factor here today on how that number 9 is able to navigate traffic. Looks, trying to see that maybe Luttrell just ahead in the 500 Chevrolet. I think it may be so Luttrell involved in that early race incident. Just holding on to it here. I think that's also possibly McFadden. I'm fairly certain it is 2 cars ahead, 2 trucks ahead of your race leader, John Ballou. There's Byron Fosh out of the number 69 machine, who's going to try and get a lap back from the number 9 of Baloo. Fascinato had a rough start to the evening. He's down 9 spots. He's been beat up, pushed around, but still out there charging forward in that Toyota. And I'm very interested to see how Baloo's going to be able to navigate traffic. He hasn't lost that much time to Parks or Ross, running 2nd and 3rd. Got to be very careful here not to put that number 9 Chevrolet in a precarious position. The 500 machine of Luttrell looks to be going very wide to help facilitate the pass for Baloo. Well done there. Fascinato's going to follow along. He desperately wants to get a lap back from the number 9. Baloo just trying to keep himself out of the vortex of danger here. He's got lap drivers to contend with. He's got Fascinato, who desperately needs to get a lap back in the number 69 machine. If he wants to stay in some sort of contention, as one of our fans, David Solomon, saying about 25 or 20 or so till the checkered, he's expecting a big crash to come out. And I personally, I'm hoping he's wrong, but I'm thinking Solomon may be right on that guess. As now Baloo gets ready to put McFadden a lap down, the number 5 machine. Dalton McKinney, Jeffrey Radke going at it in the battle for 5th side by side. You've also got Wally Babb, James Kaufman battling for 9th. Looks like McFadden hops out of the way of Baloo. Well done to the drivers out there today, having the forethought, saying, hey, the leaders are coming by, let's get to the high line and help keep this thing going. And that's going to whittle it down to 10 drivers on the lead lap, not quite to the halfway mark. Further back, checking in on Chad Ross. He's still hanging about a half second back from Eric Parks. Drivers have about 25 more laps on what we think is the field run. We're expecting the field window to open up around lap 85 to 90. Because we're expecting the next round of green flag pit stops if we get there without a caution. Again, if we can make it to lap 90, or drivers, I should say, can make it to lap 90 to pit, they should be good to go to the end on fuel. That will not leave much, if any, left in the tank if we do have that late race caution that some fans and drivers are possibly expecting here. Parks and Ross working their way through traffic. Like Park's able to navigate the number 5 a little bit faster than Ross, pulling a couple of tenths there. Now about a 7/10 second gap to Ross in 3rd. These are the 2 closest trucks on track as far as position goes. But a whole lot of traffic out there. And John Baloo, that number 9 machine, running proudly out front. He's been in the privilege and the unfortunate spot having to cut through them all first. That's James Kaufman, number 41, just ahead of number 9. Looks like Baloo has shaking off Fascinato. Looks like, I'm not sure, there's a little bit of contact there maybe between Baloo and Kaufman. Not sure if the chrome horn coming into play early on. Look at the big lunge from Kaufman. I don't think he's happy about that. Blue's still about 1.3 seconds up from Eric Parks. Parks has Ross still a half second behind him. But we are past the halfway mark, and as of yet, haven't had that yellow flag fly. I'm sure the commentator's curse will be kicking in here shortly. But so far, well done to these guys. A very clean run for the most part. And so the two closest trucks on track for position is second and third place, Parks and Ross. Separated by about a half second. Everywhere else on track, anywhere between 1.3 to 2 seconds or higher. Blitz between the guys. Parks has Fascinato, the 69 machine is a lap down, just ahead of him. Still rapidly clicking off. Now drivers just about a second and a half off their fastest laps of the race. Your race leader, John Baloo, clicked off a 32.18 his last time by. His fastest lap, a 30.53. Cars are about a tenth and a half faster than your race leader, so very slowly closing the gap. That number 9 machine just at the bottom part of your screen there. Now Baloo does have 2 lap fresher tires underneath them compared to Parks, 1 lap fresher than Chad Ross in third. Well, looks like Parks got a little bit loose there, come out of 2. That gives another a big advantage now to Baloo again. 2.2 seconds up from Parks and Ross. Ross has been kind of yo-yoing behind that 7.3 machine of Parks. It's been as high as 7/8 of a second, as low as 2.5 tenths. And now it looks like a possible battle shaping up between James Kaufman. Ooh, Kaufman tags the wall right as we pan over. And McFadden looking up the inside line, trying to take him to that 11th place spot, but here comes Dalton McKinney in the 46 machine, who is currently 5th out on track. He wants to get around traffic as quick as he can, but it's going to be tough as Kaufman and McFadden are battling for position. McKinney going to throw it in deep in the 46, but I don't know if he has the tires to hold on to it. McFadden tries to follow suit. He gets a little bit loose out of 2, faces it up the track. And it looks like McFadden will gain the 11th place spot, now up 4 positions. Are we going to see Kaufman, the 41 machine, fire back? also as McFadden extends the gap to 4/10 rather quickly. Craig McFadden trying to break the draft of that 41 machine behind him. Now we think Kaufman may be on a 4-tire strategy. He was in his pit stall for 14.3 seconds on lap 43, while McFadden was only in his stall for 12 and a half on lap 44. So looks like Kaufman may have taken 4, McFadden most likely 2. Oh, and we're gonna have a yellow coming out. Chris Luttrell off track. Let's see what happened to bring out the caution on lap 79. Oh, what happened here? Luttrell had a big blink. As Darger was coming up behind him. Oh, nothing Darger could have done there. Trell just reappears in an awful spot, but for the second time, Darger sends him sliding around, and this is going to really change the strategy. This is 10 laps earlier than Baloo had planned to come down pit road. He was on track to go to lap 90. But we were a little bit off our predictions with the late race caution. But I think this is going to bring everybody down pit road. They've been out on track for 35 laps. And that's going to put, I think, just about everybody 10 laps short on fuel. So it looks like everybody who's on the lead lap is going to come down pit road. I expect the rest of the field to follow shortly. Ooh, Chad Ross, a gutsy move, a 2-tire stop. Will be your race leader. But it looks like John Malou took 4 fresh tires, as well as Parks, McKinney, Page, Radke, McCullough, and Babb. As well as Corey Stahl and Rylan Fascinato, who are now all in the lead lap. No, Fascinato has not come down pit road yet. This will be interesting. Ross with 2 tires thrown onto the 38 machine. Will be starting on the front row next to John Baloo. Parks, McKinney will be your second row. Page and Radke your third row. So let's get them gridded up, double file. I believe it's going to be 9 drivers on the lead lap. Little over 50 laps left to go. And away they go. Ross with a big launch. Parks is going to follow suit, putting John Balloon back into third. Now Ross and Parks are teammates here, so they're going to try to work together to shuffle back John Balloon, who's racing with Team DFR Balloon. Ross leader, race leader Parks defending the inside line. Oh, this is a white knuckle moment. Ross knows he needs to defend as long as he possibly can. If Baloo gets back out on front with those fresh tires underneath him, it is likely to see that number 9 machine try and check out once more, and that's exactly what Baloo is doing. Throwing it up the inside line against Ross. Behind them, McKinney and Parks going side by side for third. Baloo takes over the race lead as he crosses the line. Oh, it looks like Parks and McKinney made a little bit of contact there. A lot going on. And oh, Parks, hold on to it. The field scatters. Well done to Parks, able to collect himself. Almost sends it careening off the track and up the track. Get loose out of two like so many other drivers do. And now it's a 3-car rodeo for McKinney, Page, and Radke, all battling for third. Well, there's no telling how this is going to shape out. Page and Radke still side by side right behind McKinney in the 46. Quickly going about 6/10 over Ross. Ross 6/10 over Dalton McKinney in third. I think McKinney's looking in the rear view and is happy he's not involved in this race for fourth quite yet. Because Radke, Page, and the number 24 machine of Jeremy Karras, who's a lap down, all have elbows out here. Now has his eyes set on the 46, the purple and yellow of Dalton McKinney. As Baloo, your race leader, extends the gap to now as second up over Ross. But I think we're going to see any carnage coming up. It's going to be about that third to fifth place battle going on. As Radke really keeping the pressure on McKinney here. Now we're thinking these guys are all going to be about 10 laps short on fuel to make it till the end. About 45 laps is the most we've seen anybody stretch it out, so they may be closer to 6-7 laps short on fuel after they've done a little bit of eye-pacing. Radke are teammates. They might not dice it up too much here. Instead, putting their head down and try and catch up to Chad Ross in second. Ross about 4/10 ahead of Dalton McKinney, but again, we think Ross is on a two-tire stop. That may allow McKinney and Radke to put their head down and at least try and tear the second place spot. I don't know if John Baloo can be touched by the number 9 machine, especially on a long run pace. That number 9 Chevrolet of Baloo has just been absolutely ripping it whenever he gets out front and gets that clean air. pressure from behind with the likes of Dalton McKinney, Jeffrey Radke, Stephen Page, Eric Parks, all closing the gap as well. And here we go. It's going to be about a 3-truck battle for second with Ross, McKinney, Radke all in the mix. Keep an eye out though, you've also got Parks and Page still have a chance of getting up here and throwing their nose in the mix. As John Ballou must have had a moment, that gap rapidly closed, but here comes McKinney up the inside line of Ross. Side by side, it's going to be Ross just barely 3/100 of a second as they cross the line, but there goes McKinney deep on the inside line once more. A bit of a shimmy, a bit of a wiggle out of that 46. They try to avoid making contact with Ross, and then everybody struggling to put the power down coming out of turn 2. Very low degree of banking here in New Hampshire, making it tough for these guys to put the power down. Now it seems like for the most part everybody's been very polite, not trying to use those bumpers if they can help it. But if we get about 10 or 5 laps left to go, I think guys will be a lot less friendly with this segment championship on the line. Jay Darger comes down pit road by his lonesome on lap 97. We'll have 15 drivers out on track. John Mullahan, number 6. He's been in his pit stall for 27 minutes, so he's effectively out of the race. And Mullahan Ross defending like his life depends on it here. Knowing the guys right behind him have a little bit fresher 4 tires underneath them. But Ross may be in a good position here. If he still has 4 tires left in pit roads, he can throw them on for the final stop and blast towards the front. It'll be interesting to see how many tires Ballou, McKinney, Radke, Parks, Page have. All the guys that took 4 tires on that last lap 80 stop. So Ross playing defense here. It could work out very, very well for him. A big incident going on. Stephen Page, Jeremy Paris, both tied up in a crash. Coughlin barely snakes his way through. Oh, this is a game changer. Let's see what happened here. Where is the crash? It looked like the 73 machine makes contact with the 24, and then unfortunately Page finishes him off. Let's watch that and see one more angle of that. And slow it down a little bit. Page doesn't look like he's worse for wear there. But I think that was Parks and Paris who get into it. Yeah, a little bit of contact between the two. They both go around. Parks able to collect himself. Paris not quite as much. Takes another hard hit off the inside or the outside of Parks. And then poor Page, nowhere to go, just tips into him. And this is going to be interesting. So now with this stop, we should be good to go till the end on fuel. extremely interesting. Blue, in and out, 9 seconds. Bab, 6.9. McKinney, 9.8. Does anybody have tires? You know who did have tires? Chad Ross in the 38. He's in his pit stall for 14.9 seconds, drops back to 5th, but he may now be in a fantastic spot with 4 fresh tires underneath him. Everybody ahead of him, at best, took 2 tires, maybe just fuel. How's this gonna shake up, ladies and gentlemen? Will we have another caution? It's gonna be Baloo and Bab the front row. McKinney, McCullough your second row. Ross and Radke your third row. Keep an eye on that third row, as both drivers have 4 fresh tires underneath them. Enough fuel to make it till the end. Pace car will be in this time by as we get the field stacked up. Will we go green till the end after our second caution? Or are we gonna have time to wad up some more good race trucks? Pace car is in. And away they go. Baloo with a great launch. Now we know he's good on tires, but will it be enough as here comes the field behind him? Look at Chad Ross throwing it in deep. Jeffrey Radke, the 51, goes to the high line. We're 3 wide for second. McKinney, McCullough, Bab, all dicing it up. Ross and Radke looking for a way through here, using those new tires to the best of their ability. Looks like Radke having a little bit better luck with it. As I say that, he's going to be side by side with Ross. So quickly, Radke has moved up to 4th. And he is going to be blitzing up towards the front. And another caution. Stephen Page, number 1 machine, can't catch a break. Let's see what happened to Page. He's got, I think it's going to be Fascinato right behind him. Just 2 drivers trying to occupy the same place, and around goes Page. A hard hit into the outside wall. Now, how's this going to pan out? Are we going to see some of the drivers come down pit road and maybe take tires if they haven't left? That's the big question. Does John Baloo, Dalton McKinney, Panther McCullough Jr., Corey Stahl, Wally Babb, Eric Parks, do these guys have tires left in pit road? Or are they going to have to run out the remaining 20-some-odd laps, 28 and some odd laps to the end on what they have? I think our question has been answered. Baloo stays out. Pretty much everybody inside the top 9. Kaufman and McFadden come down pit road. They're running 10th and 11th. They'll fall back to 11th and 12th. So on your front row, it's going to be Baloo and McKinney, McCullough and Radke, your second row, Ross and Stahl, your third row. Keep an eye out on the 51 of Radke and the 38 of Ross, because they've got fresh tires underneath them, and we just saw in the last restart, not afraid to use it. Jeremy Paris in pit road, trying to get some last minute repairs done, I think. Taking a little while to get the field gridded up here. We're going to slowly pull in to 2 wide, I would think. 26 laps left to go, our third caution of the night. Again, coming into tonight, it was Radke, McKinney, Mullahan, McCullough, Ross, Baloo, Powers, and Babb, all with a shot of the segment championship being in the top 8. That's pretty much who's in the top 8 right now. Now, interesting to me, Sean Powers, who is 7th in points, did not show up for this segment championship, opting to call it a night. Here we go, 25 laps left to go. Baloo with another patented fantastic launch out front. Keep an eye out though on Radke, the 51, as well as Ross, the 38. They've got fresher tires underneath them. They know it's time to pursue as hard and quick as they can. Radke takes a look at the inside line of McKinney. Ross going to try and follow him through. Both drivers have moved up to 3rd and 4th place spot. Looks like Radke's going to have to drive on the inside line. Baloo's pulled a quick 9/10 advantage. Look how deep Radke's going to go on the brakes here. Almost gets into Ross. How is this going to pan out? McKinney holding on for dear life in the 46. Giving Baloo the breakaway he so desperately wanted. I wonder if Radke and Ross are going to maybe be a little bit more patient. They know they've got the fresher tires if we can go green. In theory, and that's a tough one, they should be able to just continue charging forward, taking off the left and continue when the opportunity presents itself, as long as they don't give Baloo too big of an opportunity to stretch that gap. Has a second advantage over McKinney. McKinney 3/10 over Radke and Ross. And I will say I'm surprised that Radke and Ross haven't gained as much time as I thought they would with those fresher tires underneath them. They came in on lap 101 and took 4 tires. Blue and McKinney either took 2 tires or just filled up those trucks. But somehow still able to hold on to it here. Here comes Radke taking a hit to the inside line of the 46. Ross tags the outside wall, getting all sorts out of shape. Looked like Stahl in the background. Did the exact same thing, getting loose out of 2. That's what's been biting so many drivers tonight. So now it's just Radke's going to put the pressure on McKinney. He's about let's call it about a half second, almost 6/10 up over Chad Ross, who falls back in the 4th place spot. All the while, John Ballou out front continues to stretch that gap in the number 9 machine. Laps left to go in New Hampshire to lock up the championship for segment 4 of the FEG PC NASCAR Oval Series. And I'm surprised how long it's taken Radke to fight with McKinney. I thought with those fresher tires, he would be able to make those passes with a little bit more ease, but McKinney doing a fantastic job in that 46 machine, fending them off. McKinney was second in points coming into this race. Radke was first in points, but only by 2 points up over McKinney. John Ballou was back in 6th, so I'm not sure how this is going to shape up. I think there's about 63 points available for a win here. This is going to be extremely close. I wonder if Radke finishes 3rd, McKinney finishes 6th, if that's still enough for Radke to lock up this championship. I wonder if their team's been doing the math and saying, all right, you don't need to push too hard here, let Ballou do his thing. Mathematically, if you finish 3rd at the end of this, you should be able to bring home the race for the championship. Fans and competitors alike can agree John Ballou has been hard to touch here in New Hampshire. 15 laps left to go. And Ballou has pulled almost a 2-second gap over Dalton McKinney. And second, about 2.5 seconds up over Jeffrey Radke. And third, Radke with another shimmy coming out of 2. I think that was Parks maybe had a moment as well in the 73 machine. Turn 2's been very, very rough on the field here tonight. Ballou clicking off laps, making it look easy. They'll have 15 of the 6 drivers who entered this evening out on track, fighting for their personal best and representing their teams and their sponsors. Wow, we've got 13 that are still on the lead lap. I think if we can go green, John Ballou's not going to have to worry too much about traffic here tonight. Dalton McKinney, Jeffrey Radke. Radke's been closing the gap, but not very aggressive out of that number 51 machine. I wonder if there's been some points math done on it. Maybe these guys know where they need to finish. I think that may put McKinney in a must-win situation. I'm not sure. It's going to be so extremely close to see how this breaks down. Up to his race, Radke only had a 2-point lead. John Ballou, your race leader, he was 6th in points. I don't know if he can mathematically win this segment with how far ahead McKinney and Radke are in the points. And McKinney's starting to stretch that gap once more over Radke. Radke's got to hope here that he did that math right. Otherwise, he's going to be really kicking himself in that number 51 machine. We'll have racing going on all across the track. Here's Jeremy Paris trying to make a move on Mark McFadden's number 5 machine. This will be the battle for 12th out on track. 10 laps left to go. They've got Darter just ahead of the 57 machine. Several laps down after getting that truck repaired. And it's getting a little bit busy there out on track as well. McFadden trying to get around Darter. Harris trying to get around McFadden. Well, I think Darter tagged the wall slightly. They're out of 2. Everybody's been really struggling to put that power down in these machines. So McFadden's going to work up the inside line. Harris not able to get around the 57 quite as quick. But no, McFadden's run stalls out. Here comes Paris. Both drivers with some battle-worn paint battling for that 12th place spot. Paris looks to the outside line, trying to carry some momentum out of 2. Strengthen it just slightly. Here we go. McFadden pulls about a 10th advantage over Paris. Paris can try the outside line once more as McFadden wedges it in the inside line. Looks like Paris gets a little bit better run using that high line, but really no place to put it. Gotta give Paris credit. Trying to make it happen, pulls about a 200-300 second gap on McFadden. But McFadden takes over the position once more, defending on the inside line. A little bit of contact between the two. This may give Paris the advantage he needs. A quarter of a second ahead of McFadden, and yes, Paris will move his way up into 12. 6 laps left to go. John Ballou, 4 seconds ahead of Dalton McKinney and Jeffrey Radke. Radke still lagging about 4/10 behind the number 46 of McKinney. 5 laps left to go. These guys are really clicking them off here. Is Radke going to make a final effort to try and get around that 46 machine, or is he going to settle in for that 3rd place spot? John Ballou has been unstoppable on green flag runs, I would dare say most of the season, but especially here tonight in New Hampshire. Laps left to go as Ballou crosses the line, and the number 9 Chevrolet. Chevy running 1st and 2nd. Toyota with Jeffrey Radke running 3rd, with our fastest forward being Eric Park sitting in 5th. Now Radke's very slowly closing the gap to McKinney, but just don't think there's going to be enough time here. If he's going to try and make a move on that 46, even if he's going to try and use the bumper, which I don't think Radke would, McKinney just able to hold on to it. White flag is out for John Ballou, ready to wrap up segment 4 here at the FEG PC NASCAR Oval Series. A commanding 6-second gap over Dalton McKinney in second. McKinney about a second ahead of Radke. So it looks like this is about to be the running order. As for the final time, Ballou comes out of turn 4 here in New Hampshire. He picks up the win in commanding fashion. Well done to John Ballou, bringing home the win. Dalton McKinney's going to finish second, with Jeffrey Radke rounding out the top 3. We're going to try and get these drivers up here into victory lane for their podium interviews. As race control going to try and tally up the points for us. And John Ballou gonna burn it down here at New Hampshire. What a fantastic burnout. That number 9 machine knows what he's doing. He's had a little bit of practice at it, ladies and gentlemen. And what a great win from that number 9 machine. Every time we got a long green flag run, Ballou was able to keep it rocking and rolling. And man, what a great burnout and drift for the fans here at their virtual New Hampshire. And we've got our drivers making their way up in here to the waiting room area. Up first is Jeffrey Radke. Good to have you back up here, second time in the night, Jeff. And what a great run for you in the 51 machine.
Not too bad. A little better than expected.
Now, Jeffrey, towards the end, you had fresher tires than those in front of you. Were you giving it all you had, or was maybe a little bit of math done to see what you need to lock up this segment championship?
I wasn't too sure about the math. Was just kind of trying to be consistent and stay up front.
I think it's going to be extremely close between you and McKinney. I mean, you had just a couple point advantage coming into this final round, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the race results. Do you think you might have locked up the championship here?
It's going to be close. I think Dalton led a lap, and I didn't get a chance to, so that may be the deciding factor.
Well, that's going to be down to the wire, but man, what a great race from amongst you guys. All segment, really, I mean, especially tonight, great racing all the way through. And, I mean, what was the plan coming to New Hampshire? Is short track racing. We didn't see the bumpers come into play too much out there from what I was seeing.
No, actually relatively clean. I kind of messed up my qualifying, so I didn't start up there too well. But I was able to be consistent, and it worked out pretty well.
Well, a lot of fun watching, Jeff. A great race out there. Who do you want to give a shout out to that helped make tonight possible for you and the team in that 51 machine?
Of course, all my teammates on the distance, my wife, Jeff, and you for broadcasting every week.
Well, my pleasure, my friend. Jeff, congratulations on a great segment, and good to have you back up here 2 times in a night.
Thanks, James. Hope to talk to you next segment.
Yes, sir. That was Jeffrey Radke bringing home the 3rd place result here tonight. Now we've got Dalton McKinney, the 46 machine. Dalton, great run. Definitely going the distance, all puns intended, and bringing home a really solid 2nd at the end of the night.
Yeah, everyone at the distance had a pretty good night, win both races, and get 2 top 5s tonight. I can't complain.
Now, Dalton, what was the thoughts going into this final round of the segment? I mean, it was you and Radke leading the points into this final race, just a couple points separated, and I don't think anybody knows just how quite the championship decided, but it's got to be close at the end of the night.
Yeah, it's gonna be real tight. I'm hoping I got a pretty good shot at it because I was able to lead a couple laps there, so that was 5 bonus points. John, he led so many. Not many guys really had an opportunity to get them points there. So we'll see how it shakes out. It was fun, battling with a teammate and John. Boy, he was fast at that track. He has that place figured out.
Now, Dalton, your final pit stop on lap 101, did you take any tires at all, or did you just splash off fuel on the 46 machine?
I took two there. I ended up having finishing with two in the pits, but I kind of wanted to have two more in case a caution came out, with 10 to go or something. There was only like 9 or 10 trucks on lead lap, so I thought that if I had two tires there on a late caution, I'd be able to use them. But I also kind of like the handling with two tires. It freed the car up just a little bit. It was so tight, on a long run after four tires. So I was pretty comfortable with just taking two there.
Yeah, it seemed like they worked out really, really well for you. We were a little bit worried on that last restart, but excuse me, good to see the number 46 machine capitalize, finish this segment off well, finish the night off well. And Don, who do you want to give a shout to? Any friends, family, sponsors that helped make tonight possible?
Yeah, just everyone at the distance. We had like I said, a really good night. I think we won the team points in both races. Hopefully, um, Jeff he had a heck of a run, and all them guys. Wally was in the final eight. Sean wasn't able to make it. He had a family thing. Um, Chris was in there with us. My little cousin, little Joe, he was watching. My buddy Scott, he watches a lot. My whole family, mom, dad, and sister, just anyone that supports me and lets me do this. And you guys for Jeff for putting the league on, and you for broadcasting each week. We sure appreciate it.
My absolute pleasure, Don. A lot of fun to watch. Great race out there tonight. And hope to see you back out in the next segment and do equally well, if not better, my friend.
Thanks, James. Take it easy.
Well, sir. That was Dalton McKinney finishing in the second place spot, but now the man that can't be touched, John Ballou, the number 9 machine. John, it seems like every time we get you on a technical track with a long green flag run, we really get to see you shine in that Chevrolet.
Yeah, man, this was a really good track for us, and I pretty much figured that out after qualifying. When we were 2/10 quicker, I knew we could manage the race easily. Really, I was saving the majority of the race, and if they got within a second, I would start shifting. I really don't like the shifting. I know I'm doing pretty well at it, but it is not something that we should do.
Now, John, we've seen in races past kind of the same story. You get good green flag runs, you put a commanding lead, and then several times throughout the year, if not this segment, we've seen a mid to late race caution kind of throw a wrench in the plans of all your hard work. How apprehensive were you when we had about 20 laps left to go? We were going to see that same bad story come around.
You know, really, I wasn't worried about if something bad happened. It kind of, I had to win the race, and I did all I could do. If I wouldn't have got a 4X, could have probably won the segment, but it is what it is. I mean, the tire scenario here was pretty easy to figure out. The lefts weren't really wearing at all. So we just kept putting rights on it. I put 4 on it one time, and it really probably wasn't worth it, to be honest with you. And it cost me the restart control, and really that made the race hairier than it needed to be if I would have just made the right strategy call, but it ended up playing out,
Yeah, all in all, still a fantastic night for you and that number 9 machine. Good to have you back up front, and a lot of fun whenever we can see you out on track and kind of put on a clinic for the fans at home. And John, you've got the privilege, the pleasure, my friend, the final send-offs of the night. Who do you want to give a shout to that's cheering you on?
I got to give a shout out to everybody at DFR. Everybody was running good. Sorry that Derek couldn't run tonight in the second race. He had a little shoulder problem. He had an incident that happened in Atlanta. Really bummed his shoulder up, so he couldn't make it. I really needed him so he could probably bust up them guys up front and, give me some more cushion. But, it is what it is. And then, Jeremy always helps. He's a good coach. He might not be fastest every week, but he has a good understanding of what needs to be done every week. And then I want to thank Reaper Speed Lab on the truck. They helped me a lot on the open side. So all in all, it was a great segment. Looking forward to the next one.
Awesome, John. Well said. Congratulations on a great segment, a great win here tonight, and hope to have you back up here in the future when we fire back off racing.
Yes, sir. I appreciate everything y'all do, broadcasting us, and Jeff for putting it on. We're going to keep trying our best to win one of these segments and hopefully set up for the points championship.
Oh, my pleasure, my friend. Good job, and we'll see you soon. And that's going to do it here for segment 4 of the FEG PC NASCAR Oval Championship. And we got confirmation it's going to be Dalton McKinney bringing home the win of this segment following verification of the pit stop. So well done, Dalton McKinney. And for the final race of the segment, end of the night, it was John Ballou, Dalton McKinney, and Jeffrey Radke, your top 3. As always, on behalf of FEGPC.net, as well as Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, thank you all so much for sticking with us. It's been a long night up here in the broadcast booth with great racing, great fans, and great online family. Thank you all so much, and I'll see you back when we start up segment 5. Have a great night, everybody.